Hey, friends all over the world, Dr. Keenan here. It's early. I'm not really even, my day hasn't even really gotten started the way it should. I'm a little scruffy looking, but I said, let me make this video. In fact, I had a dream last night that I was making a video similar to this. So I said, maybe that's a sign from God that I should make it. I want to talk about the truth about Kanye West, Diddy. Honestly, I don't even know why I included him in the headline of this video. Kirk Franklin and the destruction of black culture. Now, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying, because this is very, very important. I did a video the other day that was taken down about Kirk Franklin, who got into some fire for using the play on words that the lion and the lamb will bow to the goat. And it is believed that he was referring to the acronym GOAT, meaning the greatest of all time. And I talked about how the danger in those statements is the fact that we live in a society today where occultism, misogyny, violence, Satanism even, is being promoted in the music and in the culture. It's literally being promoted in the name of entertainment. Baphomet, satanic, occultic symbols are being used in the rap music, used in R&B music, used in the pop culture today. So we're living in a society where Satanism, and we are living in a society where occultism has become popularized in the culture. And it's a very dangerous trend. So I believe that though, and this is not a video to rebuke Kirk Franklin, because I don't know him personally, I don't know his personal life, etc. But I do know that he is a gospel legend. You're talking about a multiple Grammy Award winning, multiple Stellar Award, multiple BET Awards. The guy is a living legend. He's a living legend. And this is not a rebuke against him, but I do believe his words, though they were probably used with some sort of, innuendo toward the greatest of all time being Jesus, even though he used it in that fashion, I believe that the words reveal a greater reality in the culture. Sometimes even when we say stuff, even when we're trying to play on words, it exposes the fact that there is a harbinger in our words. There is a sign in our words that speak to something much, much greater. I believe that it was serendipitous that he used those choice of words, because that literally is what the demonic agenda wants. They want the lion and the lamb to bow to Baphomet, right? This demonic symbol. They want people to compromise their spirituality, compromise their relationship with God, compromise their integrity for fame, for money, for esteem and prestige. So I want you to understand that you need to understand what's happening. Now, in terms of Kanye West, I want to do with something, I want to shift a little bit. What's happening right now, I think it's interesting because Kanye West came into the hot seat because he's selling White Lives Matter shirts and all these kinds of things. And I'm not judging Kirk Franklin. For those of you posting that, I just said that. I just told you this is not a judgment against him. So please, let me deal with this. I'm going to jump on another soapbox. Y'all have to stop being so ignorant. I mean, I hate to say this. I hate to just get straight to it like this. But please stop being ignorant. Some of you have not used the brain God gave you. And you don't even read, you don't pay attention, you don't listen. And because you don't read or pay attention or listen, you say things that are unqualified. You don't qualify the things that you're saying because you're not educating yourself. Now back to what I was saying with Kanye. The reality is that people especially the urban black community, are judging Kanye as a sellout. He's this and this and that. And I think it's interesting that and when I say we, I'm talking about pop culture, that pop culture and black culture are castigating a man who has problems, has gone through a lot. You know, he's working through some things, but still espouses Judeo-Christian beliefs, and listen to this, and who is fighting for his children, fighting for the right to be present in their lives. This is a man, an African-American man, who is fighting to be in the lives of his children, who is fighting for what he believes to be the values he should represent, conservative Judeo-Christian values. And I'm not saying he's a pastor, but I'm saying that Judeo-Christian values, Judeo-Christian values, and yet we are crucifying him. Socially, we are crucifying him. Culturally. And yet we are someone like Diddy, who is a man who has never married a woman, who has several baby mamas with different women, who has never thought enough of any of them to actually marry them, who is now in a relationship with a girl that is probably young enough to be his child. And we're listening to this man say that, you know, I got to check Kanye and I got to check. No, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Isn't it crazy how, and again, I'm not saying Kanye is perfect or we should praise Kanye, but I do think it's ironic, our values as a culture. And I believe that black culture in America is in danger of being totally destroyed. I believe that because we've embraced victimhood as a way of life. The black culture of today praises misogyny, praises the objectification of women, praises murder and drugs. We got rappers rapping about killing children, and then we praise them. And when these rappers are murdered, after they've murdered several people, we erect a mural in their name, and we treat them like a cultural messiah. Our values, what has happened to the values of the culture? Why is it that we will denigrate a man who's fighting to be with his kids and fighting to be involved in their lives? Not perfect, still got working out stuff. I know that. But then we will praise a Cardi B or praise a Meg the Stallion or praise people who are a reproach. And again, this is not a video to exonerate Kanye from his sins. Everybody must give an account. But I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the fact that we are living in a very, very serious time where good is being conflated with evil and evil is being conflated with good. I don't care if you like Kanye or not. I'm not a fan. You know, but what I'm saying to you is this. I'm talking about the fact that when you talk about that lion and lamb bound to the goat, there is a spirit of Baphomet. And this spirit of Baphomet is one that is praising everything that God hates, exalting everything that God hates, exalting everything that God says is evil. Exalting everything that is evil. Look at our representation. And don't you tell me, when we talk about the black community in America, don't you tell me about how the white man is oppressing you, and the white man is killing us, and the white man is out here policing us, and the white man is this, and the white man is that. When will the culture take responsibility for the fact that over the last 30 years, the black community has been fighting for the right to be slaves. Is anybody going to talk about that? How the black community has been fighting for the right to be slaves. Slaves to money, slaves to sex, slaves to drugs, slaves to immorality. Are we going to talk about that? Are we going to talk about, when you look at the statistics in America right now, in 2019, most of the murders in America were committed by black folks. And this is 12% of the population of a country. How can 12% of a population commit most of the murders in the country? How can most of the robberies proportionately be done by African Americans? When you talk about in 2019, if there were 11,000 robberies, right, armed robberies, 4,000 of those armed robberies were committed by black men. So when we talk about, when we're talking about civil rights and we're talking about social justice and we're talking about stuff like that, how come we're not talking about we are being entertained by music that glorifies killing people, that glorifies murdering children? How come we're not talking about that? We have a whole industry right now, the hip hop industry, which promotes violence, which promotes immorality, which promotes promiscuity, perversion, drugs. Children learn what drugs to take by listening to the music. They are informed about drug culture through the music. And we're talking about we have a drug epidemic. Of course we do. The music industry feeds the drug industry because we are literally teaching young children in the suburbs who know nothing about the projects, who know nothing about a trap house, who know nothing about gang violence. We're teaching them what it means to all this kind of stuff. Songs like drill music that teach people how to murder somebody in detail. It describes in graphic detail how to do a drive-by killing. And what happens when you shoot the person and what happens to the person's head. And we make songs and colloquial expressions and play on words about murdering people, beating murder cases. Is anybody going to admit this? Or are we going to continue to believe the lie of victimhood and believe the lie that the black Americans are some, poor little victims trying to escape and they're being held down by a big white man in the sky? This is the music that you are downloading. This is the music that you are streaming. This is the music that you are using your own money to purchase. Your hard money, you're using your welfare money and your government funding to buy music that denigrates you. Nobody's talking about this because we all got to step and fetch and lie and pretend like, you know what, the narrative and the rhetoric is true when there's no data that supports it. There's no data that supports the rhetoric. And you can bring somebody on this feed. I want you to bring your top person, your top black liberal on my feed, and I want you to debate me on this feed. I want to talk about, I'm from Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta right now. And when you talk about the things going on, when you got to have police dogs in the mall, when you got to have sheriffs and marshals in the parking lot of every major department store, and you got to have 10 police officers with guns, with dogs inside of department stores because of the crime. This is not the KKK coming in and lynching people. This is literally young black men, young black boys who have been taught that it is their right to kill and to rob and to murder. And the music glorifies it. The culture glorifies it. The culture glorifies this. We're praising evil. We're praising something demonic. It is demonic for a rapper to go out and rape and kill, and then after he just murdered somebody, get in the car, smoke weed, and go to the studio and record a song, and then win a Grammy for that song. That's demonic. That's evil. And the devil is trying to, now again, there's somebody going to say, well, but Kanye West is not a good person. He's not this. Get the point I'm trying to say. Get to the point. Understand the point of what I'm trying to say. This is not to glorify Kanye West. You may not agree with him. You may believe he has problems, mental illness, whatever the case may be. I'm not glorifying anybody. What I'm using this to show you is that there is a problem where rappers who have demeaned and disrespected women their entire careers, promoted all kinds of debauchery their entire careers, now believe they have a moral authority to correct Kanye West or a moral authority to talk. P. Diddy got on national TV on The Breakfast Club and said that, no, I can't support Kanye West when they're out here. Their whole agenda is for us to be poor. He's not poor. P. Diddy is a multimillionaire, and he became a multimillionaire by exploiting people. And so what I'm trying to explain to you is that when are we going to be honest and real? I don't know these people personally, and this is not a personal attack against them. But I am saying that at some point, preachers of the gospel, you may say, that's not your role to talk about this. This is my role to talk about this, because this is happening in the culture. This is my role to talk about it because I have to oversee the funerals of young men and women who have bought into a lie about who they are. We have to eulogize 14 and 15-year-olds because of the demon in the culture that we have accepted under the guise of being black. No, this is not blackness. This is not blackness. Blackness doesn't mean being a victim. Blackness doesn't mean being a fool. Blackness doesn't mean being a menace to society and a killer and a murderer. And yet that's what we're being told, to the point where when I travel all over the world, people think that being a black man in America means being a rapper, an athlete, or a comedian. We don't even celebrate the Thurgood Marshalls. We don't celebrate the Clarence Thomases. We don't celebrate the, what's this guy's name? The surgeon. I forgot, what's the doctor's name that did that separated the Siamese twins joined at the head? We don't celebrate people like that anymore. We don't celebrate the preachers. We have a society that demonizes preachers and glorifies rappers. We have a society that looks down upon domesticated wives, but praises Meg the Stallions. This is the Ben Carson is who I was trying to say. Dr. Ben Carson. Even black culture has disrespected and dishonored this man because they disagree with his politics. They have forgotten the fact that he is brilliant. They forgot the fact that he is a faithful husband. They forgot the fact that he is an honorable citizen in society. Because we don't believe, we demon in the black community, if you have conservative values, they demonize you and praise people who live the most wicked lifestyles, but who espouse their belief systems. Is anybody going to wake up and listen? For all of you that believe I'm an Uncle Tom and a sellout, you just don't know me. You don't know my background. You don't know anything about who I am or where I came from. Because unlike most of you watching this, I've lived in the ghettos. Unlike most of you watching this, I've been homeless and lived out of my car. Like most of you watching this, I've been in the struggle. I've been on food stamps. See, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. A lot of y'all don't understand how demonic this system is. And you don't understand how people are being brainwashed and they're being mind controlled to totally eradicate. 42% of black women, 42% of all abortions in America are done by African American women. And then they get on these politicians, pander to you and lie to you and tell you that Roe versus Wade being overturned was the worst thing that happened. And Roe versus Wade being overturned is something that totally just, we've gone backwards as a society, and black women's rights are being taken away. That's a whole lie. Most of you don't even know what Roe versus Wade was. You didn't even know about it until it was overturned. Because that's how stupid this society has become. You didn't even know about Roe versus Wade until it was overturned. You knew nothing about it, never researched it, didn't even know what it was about. But because some black politician got on Instagram or social media and told you that, oh man, your rights are being taken away as a woman now because of Roe versus Wade, it's a lie. The federal government should have never authorized the funding of abortion through tax dollars. And Roe versus Wade was overturned to remove that demonic legislation that makes somebody else pay for an abortion that they don't even agree with. Why should I have to pay for abortion with my tax dollars? And it's your abortion. I'm going to tell the truth. This may not be a popular message. You may cancel me and unfriend me, but I'm telling you right now, if we don't pray, if we don't repent as a culture, if we don't get back to God, which is our bedrock. Black people, listen to me. Stop believing the lies. Stop allowing the devil to manipulate you. Stop allowing the devil to tell you that you're a victim. Stop allowing the devil to make rappers your pastors. Stop. This is not what our grandparents died for. This is not what our parents, and well, some of your parents, and that's the problem, but it's not what the fathers of old had in mind when they thought about freedom. This is not it. This is not the dream the king died for. It's not. This is a nightmare. This is not the American dream. It's an American nightmare. And if we don't wake up from this nightmare and repent and turn back to God, according to 2 Chronicles 7, chapter 14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. And you pastors, let me talk to you. You pastors who are pandering to a liberal audience. You pastors who have conceded and have been complicit in the satanic rhetoric. You need to repent. You need to repent. It's not worth it. Filling your pews is not worth losing your soul. And then there's some of you may say, Pastor, this is not a black and white issue. Why are you making it a black and white issue? No, it's not a black and white issue. But every weekend we talk about Chicago. Every weekend we talking about Chicago. Every weekend we're talking about the violence. Every weekend we're talking about crime. Every weekend we're talking about this and we're talking about that. So I got to deal with it. Because you cannot have a conversation about crime in America. You cannot have a conversation about violence in America without dealing with what we are watching and what we are listening to every single day. You cannot divorce those two things. You cannot, we talk about teen pregnancy, but the music that is getting billions of streams all over the world is music that tells women to be thots and wops and all this kinds of stuff, and nobody's saying anything about it. And then when we put these young sisters on a stage and we coronate them with the culture, we crown them the queen bee. We crown them as some sort of, we used to celebrate people like Cicely Tyson. We used to celebrate people like, I don't know, just give me some, we used to celebrate these people. We used to celebrate women for their class and their elegance. Now we celebrate women for being hoes. And we wonder why our children are battling with their sexuality. Argue with me. I want somebody to argue with me. Argue with me. Argue with me. Send your best apologist, your best cultural apologist, and argue with me. I call anybody. I'll come on any talk show. I'll come on any platform, and we can have this debate. We used to praise people like Rosa Parks and Coretta Scott King, and these were the folks that we brought adulation and praise about. But now look at our representatives. Look at the people that we have listened to. Look at the people that are basically the ambassadors for the culture. Look at the people. Look at who we have now to look up to. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I don't know P. Diddy personally. I don't know Kanye personally. I don't know these people personally. I'm simply making a point. We gotta be real with ourselves. I listened the other day because, I was listening to something and I saw some of the lyrics for this music. I saw some of the lyrics for these songs. The guy, one of the rappers that just got killed, I think last year or 2 years ago, whatever, made a song about one of the 15-year-old boys that he murdered. This is what I'm talking about. And we're bouncing our heads to these songs. Yeah, go do. I pull out straight. Hey, put it okay. Who, head in the bay. And they sound like animals. Animals. They look like animals. Dress like animals. Dress like tattoos on their faces. Tattoos under their eyelids. Tattoos in the middle of the forehead. Look like Neanderthals. Look like animals. Coop, cover the coop, love the poop, 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 scoop, scoop, eat, oop, oop. That's what we're listening to. Nonsense. Trash. Garbage. This is garbage. This is absolute garbage. And you got a grown man, Kanye West, on national TV pleading to be involved in his children's lives. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's without sin. I'm not trying to even demonize these guys. I'm telling you right now, if we don't wake up to this and we're teaching our young children that they're victims, I don't care what color they are. We're teaching them that they're victims and that they're slaves and that you're helpless and you're society is against you and all this kinds of stuff. This is a spirit of deception. It's a spirit of hypocrisy. I'm telling you, I've been in this thing for far too long. I've had friends who have died. I've had friends who've been murdered by their own. And we go to the funeral and make up lies and talk about how he was in Sunday school and how he did an Easter speech on Sunday and he was just such a great little preacher. No, he was a murderer. He was a killer. He killed people, murdered folks, blew people's brains out, did drive-bys and killed children. And we got to get up in their funeral and lie about who they were. They were drug dealers. They're responsible for their own mothers being on crack. These are the people that we're celebrating and tattooing on our skin. Have we lost it, church? Has society lost its mind? And anybody that criticizes this, anybody that speaks against it is demonized. Anybody that speaks against it is You know, they dig up dirt on the person and try to show how they're a hypocrite and how they're a conservative and a sellout and an Uncle Ruckus and an Uncle Tom and all this kind of stuff. Anybody that speaks the truth, anybody that speaks the truth on this is attacked. People have sent me death threats. People who come to my inbox and say, we're going to pull up on you and do this and this and that. Why? Am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? And if it's society and the white man that's against us, how come these young guys are driving around with AK-47s in their car? Who are they protecting themselves against? That's not for the police. These guys do not put guns in their vehicles for the police. They put guns in their vehicles for their opposition, who are people who look like them. This is manipulation of the highest order. And we must wake up to the truth and be bold. While the Lord has given us mercy, while the Lord has given us this opportunity, this window of opportunity to turn away from the deception and turn to Him in truth. Please, please share this. And remember, Jesus is Lord.